Imagine a wall so vast it can be seen from space, or so the legend goes. A wall that snakes across mountains, deserts, and grasslands, stretching over 13,000 miles. A wall soaked in the blood of workers, defended by emperors and mythologized by the world. But behind its stone facade lies a truth far more complex, brutal, and captivating than most history books dare to tell. Before we uncover the forgotten secrets, here's a challenge for you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you really know about the Great Wall of China? Myths? Truths? Let's see if your ideas hold up by the end of this journey. Because what if I told you the Great Wall wasn't a single wall at all? And what if I told you it didn't always protect, it often imprisoned? This is not just a story of stone and mortar. This is a story of paranoia, rebellion, propaganda, and death. Let's begin. The origins of the Great Wall stretch back more than 2,000 years to a time when China wasn't China as we know it, but a battlefield of rival kingdoms locked in perpetual war. The Warring States period around 475 BCE was chaos incarnate. 7 powerful states jostled for dominance, each paranoid of the others, each building their own walls to defend themselves. These weren't majestic fortresses. They were hurriedly built earthen ramparts, practical and ugly, meant to keep enemies and raiders out. But it was Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a unified China, who had a different vision. You might recognize his name as the ruler buried with thousands of life-size terracotta soldiers, a man obsessed with power and with death. He took the fragmented walls of the warring states and began binding them together, creating a singular, monstrous line of defense across the empire's northern frontier. But this wasn't just about keeping invaders out. Qin Shi Huang feared everything: foreigners, scholars, dissent. The wall was as much a prison as it was a defense. Some historians argue it served just as well to keep people in. Dissenters, criminals, even poets who questioned the regime's authority were sent to the wall to labor. Many of them never returned. In fact, some ancient texts describe how corpses were buried within the wall itself, their bodies crushed into the mortar, their spirits said to haunt the stones to this day. It's likely an exaggeration, but the truth is no less grim. Hundreds of thousands of men were conscripted, often against their will. Peasants, soldiers, convicts. No breaks, no mercy. And the working conditions? Unimaginable. Blistering heat in summer, freezing winds in winter, remote terrain, disease, starvation. The wall devoured them. But here's the plot twist most people never learn. The wall didn't work. Not really. Time and again, the nomadic tribes from the north, Xiongnu, Mongols, and others, found ways through, around, or even over it. The wall slowed them down, sure, but it didn't stop them. And some Chinese dynasties even invited those very tribes to settle and trade, breaking their own rules of isolation. So why build such an enormous wall at all? The answer lies partly in psychology. The wall was propaganda, a message, a symbol. It said, "This is where China ends. Beyond this line, you are not us." It was a line in the sand, or rather in the stone, a way for rulers to project strength, unity, civilization, even when the empire inside was crumbling. Over the centuries, different dynasties added, rebuilt, and extended parts of the wall: the Han, the Sui, the Northern Way. But the version most people think of today, with its brick towers, battlements, and iconic curves, came under the Ming Dynasty after they drove out the Mongols in the 14th century. Now the Ming were serious about walls. They didn't trust their neighbors. And after Mongol raids into Chinese heartlands, they weren't about to take chances. So they poured unimaginable resources into rebuilding the wall, not just as a barrier, but as a military superhighway, complete with signal towers, arsenals, garrisons. Troops could be dispatched rapidly across vast distances using smoke signals, fire beacons, and even synchronized drum beats. It was, for its time, a technological marvel. But here's where things take a darker turn. Despite the Ming's efforts, the wall still failed them in the end. In 1604, a rebel army from within China forced the Ming into collapse. A Ming general, Wu Sangui, opened a key gate of the Great Wall, Shanhai Pass, to the invading Manchus, hoping they'd help suppress the rebellion. Instead, the Manchus seized Beijing and founded the Qing Dynasty. Let that sink in. The wall, meant to stop foreign invaders, was ultimately opened from the inside. Not stormed, not broken, opened. Because even the strongest wall is meaningless without unity behind it. So what does this mean for the legacy of the Great Wall? It's a marvel, no doubt, a feat of engineering, endurance, and ambition. But it's also a monument to fear of outsiders, of dissent, of change. It reflects a mindset: build higher, thicker, longer walls to protect what's within, no matter the pun. And that cost was staggering. Some estimates suggest over 1 million people may have died building various parts of the wall across centuries. Not just soldiers, but sons, fathers, husbands, vanishing into history. Their names are lost. Their stories are unrecorded. Their bones, perhaps, still beneath the stones tourists walk on today. Ironically, in the 20th century, China itself neglected the wall. Parts were scavenged by locals for bricks. Others crumbled due to erosion. It was only when foreign visitors began romanticizing it, claiming it could be seen from the moon — it can't, by the way — that the Chinese government began preserving it more seriously. Now it's a global symbol of China's past, its resilience, and its mysteries. But maybe the greatest twist of all is this: while the Great Wall is revered for keeping people apart, it now brings the world together. Tourists from every continent travel thousands of miles to walk along its ridges, to feel the wind that once carried arrows and war cries, to stare into the same vast horizon ancient centuries once watched for riders from the steppes. What they don't always realize is this: they're walking on the scars of history, on a monument not only to strength, but to paranoia, oppression, and sacrifice. The real story of the Great Wall isn't about defense. It's about the cost of control. It's about what nations are willing to sacrifice in the name of security, and what walls say about the fears of those who build them. So the next time you see an image of the Great Wall stretching like a dragon across the land, don't just admire its grandeur. Remember the hands that built it, the lives lost beneath it, and the empires that rose and fell behind its stones. History isn't just stone and mortar. It's blood. It's a decision. It's the stories we choose to tell and the ones we bury. If you found this story eye-opening, let us know what part struck you the most in the comments. Have you ever walked to the wall yourself? Or would you, knowing the Kadomam? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more untold history, and share it with anyone who still believes the wall could be seen from the moon. This is time's battlefield, and the past is never just the past.